So in reflections, when we reflect in the coordinate plane, typically we either reflect over the x-axis or the y-axis. And in number 3, notice how when we reflected over the x-axis, how our x values didn't change, but our y values did. So the x value stayed the same on the A, but the y was opposite y. When we reflected over the y-axis, notice how our x values become the opposite, but our y values didn't change. So this next reflection we're going to look at is over the line y equals x. In this investigation, I'm going to use patty paper to help me out. So notice how I have the line y equals x graphed. And if you don't have patty paper or wax paper, you can use regular white paper and just trace over everything darkly. So what you want to do is trace over your triangle. Make sure you label A, B, and C. Then you want to trace over the line y equals x and then the x and y coordinate as well. So if I flip this triangle over this line, I'm going to pick this paper up and I'm actually going to completely flip it and match everything back up. And then now, look at the location of your new points. A prime is located at 3, -2. I'm going to put that point there darkly. Label that as A prime. B prime is located at 1, 3. I'm going to put that point there again. Flip it up and call that point B prime. And C prime is located at -1, 0. So all we need to do now is come up with our algebraic rule. So take a look at what happened to your x and your y values. Notice how in every single one of these, my x and my y values completely switched places. So what would be that algebraic rule? How would I write that? X, y flip-flops and becomes y, x. Okay, so let's take a look now at number 6 and see how we do on this one. So on number 6, we're going to start off, we're going to graph our original triangle. Now, this triangle is a little different. It's not the same one we've been working with. So we're going to graph and label. So A, I'm going to start off by labeling these A, B, and C. A is 1, 1. B is 2, 2. And C is 5, 1. So now I'm going to graph the image. So A prime, B prime, and C prime. A prime is now 1, -3. B prime is 2, -4. And C prime is 5, -3. So how am I going to describe this transformation? What appears to have happened? Well, it looks like we have a reflection, but what did we reflect over? We didn't reflect over the x-axis, because if we had, we would have an equal distance. A would be 1, since A is 1 up, A prime would be 1 down. But it does appear that we have reflected over a vertical line. Notice how there is a total of 4 units from A to A prime. Four units from C to C prime, and 6 units from B to B prime. So a line of reflection is that symmetry line. Where does it fall in the middle? So where exactly would be that middle line located? Well, the line that we have reflected over is the y equals -1 line. So now I'm going to write that down, describe the transformation. So given triangle ABC, make sure you write down your original location of your points. We reflect triangle ABC over the y equals -1 line. So how do I write that in an algebraic rule? Well, again, you have to look at your x's and your y's. So if you notice how your x's didn't change. Sometimes you have to play around to figure out what happened to the y, or what happened to the other value. So my x's didn't change, so that's going to be x. But you can play around, hit or miss, and see what happens. Since my y has changed, notice how it was all in the positive quadrant, and now we're located in the positive negative quadrant. Also, since I've flipped over a horizontal line, notice again how the y values changed. So hit or miss, play around with the rule. What do you think has happened? So again, if I take my y values, 1 to -3, 2 to -4, 1 to -3, it appears that all of them have decreased in value. And I bet if we try that, we'll get it. So again, when there's going to be an activity that you're going to be completing at the end of this, and you're going to be coming up with your algebraic rules, and sometimes you just have to play around with them and try. So I'm going to apply it now and see if it worked. So I'm going to take my y, and I'm going to plug it in. So opposite, and then -1. So -1 minus 2 is -3. Okay. -2 minus 2 is -4. -1 minus 2 is -3. So we've come up with a rule now to describe our y's. So our rule is x and then -y minus 2.